what is going to make you sell Bitcoin going forward? Like, if you didn't sell it then, what could possibly happen? Yes, you're seeing limits in the U.S. I think the more the U.S. tries to stop this or put curbs around it, the stronger the case gets for this to exist. Yeah. Where this is how people move money in and out of countries. It's going to exist. It's how Russia is using it when you close the SWIFT system. This is for them. And it's here. It's not going away. But just to see it rise in an environment like this and go through everything that they went through is really, really incredible. It really is when I see it. So, the Bitcoin move to me, it is surprising that it hasn't stayed lower, that it's coming back. But I just don't know who will be selling this and what kind of what black swan event or what event's going to make you sell Bitcoin if you haven't sold it already after all the negative news and bankruptcies and all the shit you went through last year. And I just don't see it. I don't know.
I agree. That's a good point. I look for some emails. I would like to know about that as well. Maybe they're just buy it and forget about it. If it goes to a certain price level, whatever, that will be interesting. Quickly, on the front page of the Wall Street Journal today, the SEC moves to tighten rules for advisors handling crypto. The long and short of this article is that crypto firms are going to have to get more licenses, jump through more hoops, basically be treated more like banks. Kraken, the big takeaway there was, listen, the more you see the revolving door or the game plan of typical Wall Street. And what I mean by that is that when you're a bank, you can pay fines, admit to no wrongdoing, and continue business as normal. You rinse and repeat. Now Kraken, they had to stop their yielding earning programs where they give interest on stuff. However, they paid a fine. They're not being shut down. There was rumors out there this morning in articles about Binance is preparing, hey, we're going to pay fines and then we're going to move on. Coinbase, they're still doing staking and things like that. They're trying to talk with the SEC. If you think that they're going to shut down Coinbase and delist it and make it go to zero, I just agree to disagree. I think that there will be huge fines paid. There'll be a lot of jargoning back and forth. To keep this is extremely simple, and I know I'm onto something right here because it pisses everybody off that's so damn smart, Frank. The idea that your average person isn't going to find value, we can debate about what number that is, what value that is. You don't think that the average person, to your great point about what's going on in politics now and has been forever and will continue to do so for the future as long as we're here, if you don't think that a finite, fixed amount of something, like Bitcoin only having 21 million, if you don't think that that resonates with the individual, then tell me how something goes from zero to $24,000 in 10 years, and then it's just a scam and for drug dealers and all this. Real quick, Charlie Munger was answering a question. Becky Quick talked about this, and somebody set him up and said, listen, when you gave a speech back at this, whatever, college ceremony, you mentioned you should never talk about something unless you have a better counter argument. So if you're going to say, hey, I don't like XYZ, be prepared to say that.
Of course.
And he asked Charlie, hey, give me your other argument about Bitcoin or crypto. And he simply said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he simply said, listen, there isn't another good argument. I think they're all idiots. That is by definition, meaning, hey, I'm just old and rich and I just have a stance and I'm right and you're wrong. That's okay, but don't take his advice on that. That just proves that you have no leg to stand on. And the idea that not everybody, but a lot of government and higher up officials tell you that Bitcoin is only for drug dealers. It's not about freedom. It's not about limit. It's not about value. It's not about personal responsibility. They're telling you exactly what they're afraid of. And the whole notion, one last thing here, the greatest thing about crypto is freedom and responsibility. The worst thing about blockchain will be central bank digital currencies, CBDC. That does not stand for central bank Daniel Creech. Central bank digital currencies will be the absolute. That will lead to one of the biggest uprising and either civil wars or huge wars over the next decade, in my opinion. That's going to be terrible because, for the one important reason, when you're on a central bank digital currency, you can say something that the government doesn't like, you can dress a certain way, you can call somebody a certain name, and they will shut you off electronically, and you will not be able to function. That's a sad situation. So between now and then, make a shit ton of money and be free, and keep the wolf away from the door as long as possible.
You can't shut down really banks, but I tell you what they're doing is they're trying to. Because and thank you, a good friend of mine, Chang, sent me this. I'm just going to point this out really quick. Okay, so December 7th, Signature, which is one of the most active banks serving crypto clients, announced that it intends to halve deposits subscribed to crypto clients, give the customers the money back, then shut down their accounts, drawing its crypto deposits down from $23 billion to $10 billion, right? So, and it's going to exit stablecoin business. This from government stuff, right? So January 3rd, the Fed, FDIC, and OCC released a joint statement on the risk to banks engaging with crypto, telling banks, listen, don't, if you hold crypto, watch out, okay? Because strongly discouraging you from doing so based on safety and soundness. So telling the banks, right, not to. Enough with the crypto. A January night Metropolitan Commercial Bank with a few banks that serve crypto clients announces a total shutdown of crypto asset related verticals. So you're seeing it from the government, right? Then on the 9th, Silvergate, stock crashes 1155. You're seeing this. Again, everyone's saying it's fraud. You have short sellers. I haven't seen any fraud yet. Just people removing assets from the platform because they're worried about the FTX situation and maybe my assets on that platform. Maybe if they shut down, I'm not going to get them back. You're looking at January 21st. Again, this is just recent. Binance announces due to this policy at Signature Bank, they will only process user fiat transactions more than 100,000. January 27th, Federal Reserve denies crypto bank custodians 2-year application become a member of the Federal Reserve System, citing safety and soundness risks. Again, Custodia is a very big platform for crypto and banks. Kansas City branch denied Custodia's application for a massive account, for the master account for cryptos. That was on the 27th. But, I can keep going here. Like, you're just seeing the banks put pressure on. I'm seeing it with one company that I'm involved with in crypto asking me and say, Frank, we're starting a U.S. operations. We thought it would be okay to start U.S. operations. And they're basically a software company that has a token, but which trades and they do it, overseas and stuff like that. But now they're expanding and they're opening U.S. down. And the fact they're opening it up in the U.S., they want to have U.S. operations where they could pay people fiat, right? So it's kind of like a subsidiary. They went to Bank of America, which is a bank that I use. I think it's the most shittiest bank ever. I bet you had experiences like that with other banks as well. It's just amazing that the 6-month T-bills and things like that are 5%. And they're not going to pay you shit on your accounts until you call them. That's a bank for you. When they're trying to open an account, they were able to open it, deposit it with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they said, no. We just did some research on you and found out like the background that you are, crypto related, crypto company, even though they're a huge company generating revenue, doing fine. And they asked me, they're like, Frank, do you know any banks that are going to that we could do this with? And for me, we opened up a Coinbase, and Coinbase put us through the ringer. We're a US based company. We're not technically a crypto company, but we do have crypto assets, right? One of our biggest assets is real estate in TCG world. Yeah, which is, one of our largest purchases a company's ever made, $5 million. And they're having trouble, right? So I think this is extremely bullish for Bitcoin, but there is, especially over the past month and a half, 2 months, it's not regulating this stuff and saying this is what we need to see. It's like, hey, you better be careful because if you accept this shit, there's a good likelihood that we're going to come after you. And now Kraken just paid a big fee, right? You're seeing all these big fees. You see T0 pay a fee. All these guys are just like, all right, SEC's cracking down. Let's pay the fees and then adjust. But it's funny how the SEC is going after crypto from the banking point of view right now. And let's see how that turns out. It's going to result in maybe less crypto, but it's going to put the U.S. at a significant disadvantage because crypto is the future. This is where they're going. This is the younger generation. This is the millennial generation, the Gen Z. This is where they're going. Okay. This is what they're doing. NFT volume is exploding. They talk about NFTs. They're all into crypto. And the fact that you're not regulating it and saying, hey, if you're going to accept this, this is what you have to do. You're telling them, hey, you're not even giving them rules. We're just saying, hey, it's probably a good idea that you stop what you're doing right now because it's likely that we're going to come after you. So a bank is going, okay, let's get out of it. And you saw it clearly with Bank of America, which is a company that I deal with, which is amazing. I think that's a bullish case. It's going to make it an even more bullish case because when you're looking at Bitcoin, it's anti-government. They hate the government. And that's going to continue. And now the government's realizing that, holy shit, this is bigger than we ever thought it would be. And it's going to get bigger and bigger. They thought it was going to dial down. But the fact, just the last month and a half, Daniel, that they're going after all this stuff now is sad.
Yeah.
You just fucking regulate it. Like, regulate the fucking business. Just say, all right, this is what we need. This is what I need to see. I like what you said about the ETFs. When SEC Chair came out and said, look, there's clear guidelines of how we're going to accept an ETF. If you follow them, we have thousands of securities that trade. But if you're not going to follow them, that's fine. Or at least you're providing that framework. Provide the framework, man. You had years and years and years. You still don't know what you're doing. Hester Pierce is one of the biggest names in the SEC. I interviewed her personally. She's pro-crypto. She came out against the SEC and said, listen, I really, basically, these guys have no idea what the hell they're doing. They don't know anything about crypto. They don't want to learn about it. But it is the future. Embrace it. But the fact that they're going after the banks recently over the past 2 months is pretty crazy. So let's see how this turns out. And it's interesting that Bitcoin continues to go high because you're going to strengthen it. It's like telling your daughter, right? She's making a huge mistake by dating this guy. And if you say that, she's going to date him forever and ever and ever and ever and ever until 10 years she realizes, wow, I should have listened, right? Yeah. Anyway, maybe not the best example, but the more you say no to something, the more it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, especially in Bitcoin. It is huge. It's a religion to these people. They haven't sold it through one of the worst years ever. I don't know. But to see it where it is very interesting, and I think it's still going to go a lot higher.